I just need some time to rediscover myself, maybe in Thailand, she said. I should have questioned it more. I should have said no. Instead, I swallowed my doubts, smiled, and said the one thing I'd regret for the rest of my life. Sure, if that's what you need. Here's the story of how my fiancée packed her bags for Thailand, claiming she needed to rediscover herself, and the truth I uncovered about what she was really doing there. If you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. For the most part, I thought we were solid. You know, one of those relationships where things just work. We had our ups and downs like anyone else, but I truly believed we were in a good place. We'd been together for years, built routines, made memories, and even started planning a future together. I won't lie, I was all in. But then, out of the blue, she hit me with it. Do you think we need a break? She asked. At first, I thought I misheard her. I mean, a break? From what? From us? I just stared at her, trying to process what she meant. She said she needed some time to rediscover herself, to figure out who she really was outside of the relationship. And then she casually mentioned wanting to go to Thailand, a change of scenery, she called it. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to tell her no, to ask her why she'd need a break when everything seemed fine. But I didn't. I told myself I couldn't control her. She's an adult, and we weren't even married yet. If she wanted to go off and rediscover herself, what could I do? Hold her hostage? Still, it hurt. I mean, how do you hear something like that and not feel like you failed somehow? But I didn't let her see that. I just smiled and said, sure, if that's what you need. After she left, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. So, I called her sister. I figured if anyone knew what was going on, it'd be her. Maybe they talked about it. Maybe her family had concerns too. But when I asked, her sister didn't seem the least bit worried. She just said, yeah, she told us. It's her decision, and we are fine with it. I hung up the phone feeling stuck. Her family wasn't worried, and I didn't want to be that guy, you know, the one who's overbearing, trying to control someone else's choices. So, I convinced myself to let it slide. I mean, what's the worst that could happen, right? When she got to Thailand, everything changed. Our conversations got shorter. She'd take hours to reply, and when she did, it was vague. No details about her day, no excitement, just busy with retreat activities or I'll call you later. Except, the calls never came. What really caught my attention was her Instagram. She used to post stories all the time, pictures of her meals, sunsets, even random things like a coffee cup. But now, nothing. At first, I thought, maybe she's just taking a break from social media. It made sense. After all, she said she was there for a retreat. But then something weird happened. A few days after she arrived, a friend of mine sent me a message. It was casual, almost like he was teasing me. Hey, man, didn't know you were partying in Bangkok. Looks wild. Attached to the message was a screenshot, a photo of her in a club, laughing, with a guy's arm draped over her shoulder, assuming it was my arm. My stomach dropped. I stared at the picture for what felt like forever, trying to process what I was seeing. Was it old? Was it photoshopped? But no, it couldn't be. The timestamp on the story was recent. That's when it hit me. I wasn't seeing her stories because she'd blocked me. And not just me. Most of our mutual friends couldn't see her updates either. Somehow, she missed this one friend. I played along, like I was in Thailand with her to the friend while I debate what to do. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but the evidence was right there in front of me. I decided to create a secret Instagram account. Something anonymous, with no connections to me. It didn't take long to find her profile. Once I followed her from the new account, the truth was all there, laid out in her stories like a slap to my face. She wasn't meditating in temples, or finding herself in some peaceful retreat. She was in fancy restaurants, on beaches, at rooftop bars, and always with the same guy. They looked close. And just like that, the last piece of hope I'd been holding on to crumbled. She hadn't gone to Thailand to rediscover herself. She'd gone to Thailand to be with him. And me? I was just the fool sitting back home, still trying to believe her lies. I couldn't stop myself from checking her stories with a secret account I'd created. It wasn't easy seeing her face pop up on my screen, smiling, laughing, and looking carefree. But what crushed me were the moments she shared with another man. I couldn't stop staring at the screen. My heart wasn't just broken. It was shattered into pieces I didn't know how to put back together. But I didn't confront her. Not then. What would I even say? She had made her choices, and deep down, I knew nothing I said would undo what I'd seen. So, I kept quiet, bottling up the hurt and trying to figure out what to do next. Back when she first left for Thailand, we used to text throughout the day. She'd tell me about her plans. But now, every message I sent felt like it was disappearing into a void. I'd ask her how she was, and hours, sometimes even a whole day, would pass before she replied. When she finally did, her messages were short and dismissive. "Sorry, I've been busy with the retreat schedule. It's exhausting." Meanwhile, on Instagram, I could see her swimming in clear blue waters, sipping cocktails on luxury beaches in Krabi. I don't know what hurt more, her lies or the fact that she thought I wouldn't notice. By this point, I knew the wedding was off. There was no going back. But I didn't tell her. I didn't call her out or even drop hints about what I'd seen. So, I started quietly dismantling everything we had planned for the wedding. The first thing I did was call the venue. I remember sitting on my couch, phone in hand, staring at the number for an eternity. When I finally dialed, the woman on the other end sounded cheerful, asking how she could help. I told her calmly that we needed to cancel the reservation. She asked for a reason, and I just said, change of plans. No drama, no details, just enough to get the job done. Luckily, it was far enough ahead that I didn't lose the deposit. Next, I contacted the catering company. That one stung a little more. We'd spent weeks picking out the menu, debating between a fancy sit-down dinner and a more casual buffet. I cancelled it all in one quick phone call. Then came the florist. That one was easy. I hadn't even finalized the order yet. It was just another name to cross off the list. As I went through this process, I kept thinking about how much effort we'd put into planning this day. At least, I thought it was we. Looking back, it felt like I'd been planning my future while she was planning her escape. In between these calls, I'd sit there, staring at my phone, scrolling through her secret Instagram account. It burned me up inside, but I kept quiet. Sitting in the quiet of my apartment that night, I made myself a promise. I'd never let someone hurt me like this again. Never again would I ignore my instincts or let someone take advantage of my trust. She didn't know it yet, but the wedding wasn't the only thing I was canceling. When she got back from Thailand, the calls and texts started almost immediately. At first, it was casual. "Hey, I'm back. Hope you're okay." Then they became more frequent. "Are you ignoring me? What's going on?" I saw the messages pile up on my phone, but I couldn't bring myself to reply. What was there to say? I wasn't ready to face her lies. Not yet. So, I did nothing. I left her on read and let the silence do the talking. A week later, I was at work, sorting through a mountain of paperwork. It was just another Tuesday, until she walked in. I'll never forget the moment I saw her standing there in the middle of the office. Her voice cut through the room. "Why have you been ignoring me?" Heads turned. My colleagues looked up from their desks, pretending not to listen but clearly intrigued. I stayed seated, my eyes fixed on the document in front of me. I wanted to stand up, shout, and tell her everything I knew, but instead, I took a deep breath and kept my voice steady. "I'm busy. You shouldn't be here." She didn't back down. "You've been avoiding me, and I deserve to know why." Her voice cracked into a mix of frustration and desperation. In that moment, everything I felt, anger, hurt, betrayal, all boiled just beneath the surface. But I didn't let it show. I looked up at her, finally meeting her gaze. "I'm working," I said, calm but firm. Her face fell. She wasn't expecting this version of me, detached, indifferent. For the first time, I saw uncertainty in her eyes. It gave me a strange sense of closure. Without another word, I turned back to my desk. And just like that, she was no longer my problem. Later that evening, my phone rang. It was her father. His voice was calm, but I could tell he knew something was wrong. "We need to talk," he said. "It's important. Can you come over?" Out of respect for him, I agreed, even though I already knew this wasn't going to end well. I didn't want to speak in riddles or drag this situation any longer. Before leaving, I printed out the photos I had saved, clear evidence of what she'd been doing in Thailand with another man. I wanted the truth to be undeniable, even if it hurt. When I arrived at their house, the atmosphere was heavy, like they already sensed something was coming. Her parents were seated on the sofa, looking at me with concern. She was there too, sitting off to the side, avoiding my eyes completely. Her sister sat next to her, fidgeting nervously. I walked in, greeted them politely, and sat down. The silence was suffocating. I took a deep breath, reached into my bag, and pulled out the photos. Without saying a word, I placed them on the coffee table in front of everyone. The room went completely still. Her mother leaned forward, picking up one of the pictures. Her hand started shaking as she passed it to her husband. He stared at it for a moment, his jaw tightening, before setting it back on the table. Nobody spoke for what felt like an eternity. Finally, her father broke the silence, his voice low and strained. What is this?" I looked directly at him and said, "It's what happened while she was in Thailand. She told me she needed time to rediscover herself, but this is what she was really doing." Her mother gasped, tears filling her eyes. Her sister covered her mouth, visibly shocked. "But her?" She sat there, frozen, her face pale. And then she started crying. Not the kind of tears you shed when you're sorry, but the kind you cry when you've been caught. She stared at the photos on the table, her face frozen in shock. For a moment, it seemed like she was searching for words, but none came. Then, she looked at me, her voice low and defensive. "Where did you get these?" she asked, her eyes narrowing slightly. I didn't respond. I didn't see the point. Her face flushed as she sat back in her chair, crossing her arms. "So, you've been spying on me now? Is this what we've come to?" Her father cut in sharply, his voice trembling with anger. "Enough of that. This isn't about him. This is about what you've done. You told us you were going to Thailand to find yourself. Not." He gestured at the photos, his voice breaking off. Her mother whispered, "Is this true?" But it was more of a plea than a question. She finally snapped. "Fine. Yes, it's true. But do you know how hard it's been? I needed space. And..." She trailed off, struggling to find an excuse that would make any of this make sense. Her father's voice boomed again. "And this is how you handle space? By betraying someone who stood by you." She turned to me, her voice shaking. "You don't understand what I've been feeling. I didn't plan for this, okay? It just happened." I stayed silent. Not because I didn't have words, but because I knew anything I said would only fan the flames. Her excuses were hollow, and the more she spoke, the clearer it became that she wasn't sorry, at least not for what she'd done. She was sorry it was all coming to light. Her mother buried her face in her hands, quietly crying. Her sister stared at the floor, not saying a word. I stood up, breaking the tension. I looked at her, then at her parents. "I don't think there's anything more to say. You know the truth now." I turned to her one last time. "I don't wish for a woman like you in my life. I don't want to see your face again." Then I turned to her parents and said, "I'm sorry it had to come to this, but I needed you to know the truth." With that, I left. I didn't look back. As I walked out of that house, I felt the weight of the entire relationship fall off my shoulders. It was over, and I was finally free. After everything I had already seen, it still hurt to discover the full extent of her betrayal. She had been dating the guy long before we even got engaged. Let that sink in for a moment. She wasn't just unfaithful during the break. She had been leading a double life the entire time we were planning our future together. The guy she was with wasn't just some random fling either. He worked at a high-paying firm, one of those fancy jobs with big perks, like expensive vacations. That's how she ended up in Thailand with him in the first place. It wasn't about rediscovering herself. It was about impressing him, showing him she was available. I realized that those pictures she posted on Instagram, the ones of her on the beach, at luxury resorts, weren't just for show. She posted them to get his attention, to prove to him she was all in. And then it hit me. Is this how she blocked him when she posted pictures of me? Was I just a placeholder, someone she used to fill the gaps until he came along? I made a decision. I reached out to the guy. He deserved to know the truth, just like I did. I sent him a message, laying it all out. I told him everything, how she and I were engaged, how we had been planning a wedding, and how I had cancelled everything after finding out about their trip. I backed it up with photos and screenshots so he could see I wasn't making this up. When he replied, he sounded shocked. He had no idea she was engaged to someone else. He thanked me for telling him and said he needed some time to process it. I didn't expect to hear from him again, but by the end of the day, he sent me a screenshot of his conversation with her. The messages showed him confronting her. At first, she tried to deny everything, saying I was lying and trying to ruin her life. But he had the proof, my screenshots, her posts, the overlapping timelines. There was no way out for her. In the end, she broke down and confessed. Then came the part that felt like closure. He told me he'd ended things with her, sent her away, just like I had. Looking back, I can't help but wonder if I missed the signs. You know, those little things people say or do that should make you stop and think, wait, is something off here? At the time, when she said she needed to rediscover herself, I thought it was just one of those moments people go through. I mean, who doesn't want a bit of space sometimes, right? But now I can't stop asking myself, was she already planning to leave before she even said anything? Was I just too blind to see it? And here's the thing, I didn't even fight it. I told myself, you can't control someone. If she needs this, you have to let her go. But now, I'm asking myself, and I'm asking you, where do you draw the line? At what point do you say, no, this isn't just about space or self-discovery. This is about respect. This is about trust. What do you think? Would you have let someone go like that without pressing for answers? But seriously, drop a comment and tell me, have you ever been in a situation where your gut was screaming at you, but you ignored it? What did you do? I'm curious to know.